Let's see. Full screen that. Heyo. So I'm not sure about the sound, if it's okay. If I need to lower the volume of the music or whatever, just let me know. What's up? So this is a test stream for testing purposes. Sounds good? Okay, nice. That's what I'm most worried about. Okay, that's good. Just let me know otherwise. So, nice to see people here. I wasn't expecting more than like 1 or 2, so this is fun. But yeah, the goal today is to... Well, I basically set aside like 3 hours. It probably won't take 3 hours, but you never know. But I have a specific thing that I want to recreate, so it's a... I haven't looked what the original is made with. I think it's Cinema 4D, I haven't checked. But I want to recreate something that I saw on Instagram using... I know it's not Blender at least, so I want to use Blender to recreate it. Let's see here. It's this one, which I think is pretty cool. It's made by Helmut. I think he's German. So Helmut Beinetal. Okay, it's Cinema 4D, yeah. So it's not Blender, but I'm gonna try to recreate it with Blender. Because I think it will be a pretty good exercise. I have kind of an idea how to start, because we get a lot of things for free here. Like it's a torus knot to start, and it's based on extrusions, so I know that. Pretty cool. I think I won't be making the exact same thing, I don't think. But something similar, and I also noticed now that the ones that are close to the ground aren't even being extruded. So there's some kind of proximity thing probably, and we could probably use the plane for that, the ground floor or the ground plane. What else? There's some shading too going on, like this. One of the rows is colored while the other one is some kind of cream. Not exactly sure how to recreate that, but I think it's possible. So yeah, we'll see how far we go. My goal is to recreate some sort of similar thing to this. With the animation and everything. Probably, if I go the full 3 hours, I would probably have time to set up like the camera and camera movements and lighting and stuff. But we'll see how it goes. That's the goal at least. So thanks to Helmut for creating this awesome thing, and we'll see how it goes. Going to be challenging? Yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see. I haven't tried it, so it's I'm going in blind. But like I said, there are some things we get for free. One of them being the overall shape. I'm pretty sure it's just a torus knot, and you can add that in Blender, I think by default, or maybe it's one of the extra meshes things. But you don't need any external add-ons. Okay, so this is kind of how I would be tackling something like this, and this is usually what happens when I do my tutorials. I see something on Instagram or I come up with something myself. Then I kind of grind it out in Blender to see if I can arrive at something that looks somewhat like the thing I was going for. And if I like it enough, I make a video on it. If I don't, then I don't make a video on it. So that's how the process goes. So this is kind of the behind the scenes that I do every time, pretty much. And we will go back to this reference from time to time, I think. Yeah, I think it's just curve knot. It looks like it, at least. So let's start with that. Save here. So there should be, by default in Blender, I think, not sure where. Oh, torus objects. Here, the torus knot, yeah. I don't know if this is... I think this is standard, I don't know. I have some add-ons enabled, the default add-ons. So we will be using this. So, the first thing we need to do is to convert it to a curve. Because we need to use things, I think we need to use things like the spline parameter and stuff to get like where it's in the curve menu. Not this one? Oh yeah. Interesting. Curve has a curve plus. It's this one, I assume. So you can change the settings and stuff. Lots of settings. I haven't seen this one before. Interesting. Maybe we can use that. That's torus knot. Oh, a bunch of settings here, wow. This one looks a bit more complex though than the... Might be mistaken though. This seems like it has one more knot or one more loop. As this would be, nope. Spins. Well, I'm gonna stick to what I know. So my plan was to use this. No, it is 3 knots. Huh. My plan was to like use this and then just yoink one of these and use that. Because I kind of like the shape of the original torus knot. But anyway, I'm gonna use this. Doesn't really matter. And then convert it to a curve. We could convert it to a curve in geometry nodes, but I'm just gonna do it out here. Then add a geometry nodes modifier like this. Cool. Because then we can do things like resampling it, because now it's like 80 control points, which is too much, I think. And then you can do stuff like you can convert it to a mesh and you get the profile for free, and you can extrude that profile afterwards, and you can use, you know, where on the curve that extrusion is, and, you know, determine how far it should be extruded and stuff like that. So it's a pretty good base. So at this point I would probably just convert it to a mesh, convert it back to a torus. So curve to mesh, And then we need a profile curve. So I'm just gonna use a... Now that I think about it, because this one has... four rows of extrusions. Or four directions along the curve. So, I mean, you could use either way, either one, but I think I'm gonna use from the curve primitive as a quadrilateral, because that's a rectangle by default. I also need to turn off shade smooth for now. Something like this. You could use, instead of a quadrilateral, which is by default a square, you could just use a circle, set to 4, which is pretty much the same thing. I think the alignment is different though. This one is here and this one is, yeah. The tilt of the profile is different, but it doesn't really matter. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Both of them are fine. I think this is easier to use because you have the perfect square. You just have one slider to adjust the radius. Here you have to adjust both. It's not that much of a difference, but why not make it easier? So with this, we can now change things like how many faces along the curve there should be. So let's say a resample curve, so now there are 10. I think it was 80 before, like this. So yeah, you can change it on the fly and get different resolutions. And again, you can kind of reference this one, how close they are to each other. It's pretty tight. I think maybe 100 or something. Then make this a bit smaller. Something like this. We start here, we see, we can always change this later. So the next thing I would do is take it to the next step, which would be creating the extrusions, just without the animation, just extrude the faces. So that would be extrude mesh, like this. Then we can kind of change the scale here depending on where along the curve it is. And also we could probably add the subdivision surface modifier right away, or a subdivision surface node to smooth it out. And then turn on shade smooth again. So this is kind of the base we're looking for, right? And here is pretty good distribution, I think. Fairly close together. It looks kind of smooth, so. Yeah, nice. Pretty good start. So this is kind of where we start. You create the base without any animations or anything. You just create like, okay, here's a basic shape. And then you can modify it afterwards. So yeah. What's next? Let's see. This one has also, I noticed, a flat top up here. And you can kind of fake this. The way we do this with subdivision surface modifiers, for example, would be to like, maybe I can show it here. So if I had like a plane and then I had a extrusion like this, with the subdivision surface modifier at, I don't know, 2. The way I would smoothen this out would be to make a loop cut and drag it up here. So we don't have loop cuts in geometry nodes, but you can do other things. For example, another way would be to take this face here and extrude that one up. That's pretty much the same as adding a loop cut. And you can, inset that one to make it even sharper. Oh shit, sorry. Sorry, I'll do that again. So again, I would do a inset and an extrusion just like we did, and add a subdivision surface. And you would add a loop cut like this. Or like I said, you could extrude the upper face to create it. And to make it even sharper, you could just add an inset here. You kind of use the size of that to determine how sharp the edges should be. So you could do the equivalent with jump nodes, except you don't use loop cuts, you just extrude one more time. You can make insets though, just by extruding and setting the offset scale to 0 and then scaling that. So let's do that. Unlock this. So let's see, we have this. So what we want to do is create another. Pretty crazy you can do all this with just these nodes, right? So we need another extrusion, but we just need it on the top, so you can use this. If you use the side, you will extrude on the sides, not the actual face that you extruded from the beginning. So set it to this, and then just maybe up a little bit like this. Yeah. Because I think in this original, it never goes down to 0. So this last extrusion could be like as far down as it goes. Because if I set this to 0, we will be here, which is, I don't know, looks like the tentacles I made before. Almost like it's the same technique. But yeah, you could like determine a minimum offset. So maybe 0.15 would be a good like minimum later on. And then like, I don't know, maybe 0.5 or something like that as a max, maybe more, 0.6. But you can play around with the range as we go along. It depends on how it looks. But yeah, something like this. Okay, cool. We knew nodes would be this powerful, yeah. It's pretty crazy already. But it's hard if you don't know how to utilize them, which is the biggest hurdle for anyone starting out. Like, you see resample curve and you're like, okay, what does this do? It takes a curve and it outputs a curve. I guess it resamples it. What does the count do? There's a selection. What the hell? You know. But you get used to it and you start thinking in node form and node flow after a while. Okay, but let's do the extrusion scale. Because I want to keep this as it is. I think that's good. And then one thing that's cool is you can add more sides just by changing this. So here's 5, 6. And take it down to 2. No, 2 is too little. 3 is the minimum, I think. But the 3-sided one, pretty cool. Or 4. You change the radius and everything. And I guess you could make some sort of calculation here so that the count will always be a multiple of the radius so that they're always square. I don't know, it's not that important to make it so that it's that way, but it's something to think about. Otherwise, yeah, it's time to do some animation, I think, or at least not animating, but depending on where on the curve these extrusions are, they should be different sizes, or have a different offset scale. Also, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I'm trying to keep it kind of... because if I do this alone, I'm just like throwing in nodes left and right, trying out things. Here I'm kind of thinking about a little more. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like them. I got some feedback on the geometry nodes puzzles, so in the coming week or so I will add a master challenge, which is just the puzzles. It will be included in the file, so if you want to download the updated version, it's free. It will be kind of a master challenge where you get the no nodes at all. So you have to recreate it yourself, which is a lot harder. But it was there was a bit of feedback that told me that they wanted to have the option at least. So, and then the next puzzle pack, I don't know when it will be coming, but it will have, I think, 50 puzzles or something, and half of them would be a lot harder than the previous ones. So we'll see. I'm working on that too. Okay, so I want to... okay, nice. So I want to like affect these depending on where they are, and the way you do that is you use a spline parameter node, which has a couple of outputs. The index is just the index of the control points, and we can actually check it out here. Make a viewer here. So the factor should go from 0 to 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think. Oh, wrong geometry. I need to do this from the curve. So the control points, I think they should go from, yeah, from 0 to 1, or 0.0 to 0.99, whatever. So the factor goes from 0 to 1, the length goes from 0 to the actual length of the curve. So depending on how big it is, the length will be different. I also notice that this isn't... Oh, it is cyclic. No, it's not. Interesting. I wonder if I can change that. Set cyclic, I think. Oh no, it is already cyclic. Okay, never mind. It's just not connected. That's fine. So the length is dependent on the actual size of the curve, or the length of the curve. And then the index is just the index of each control points in integer format. Or I guess it's float format, but they're even. So we can kind of use this to say, you know, let's say on halfway along this curve we want them to stick up, and then we want them to go back down. And now the problem is, if I connect, let's say we use the factor like this, it's all 0. Because at this point, when we're using the spline parameter, it's no longer a curve, it's a mesh. Because we use the curve to mesh to convert it to a mesh. So when we do the factor here, the factor is 0, which you can see here in the viewer. If I use this here, if we look in the viewer, it's all 0. So the way you get around that is you use either transfer attribute or capture attribute. I think capture attribute is the best one. And what it does is that it takes the values of something at a certain point in the node tree, here for example, after this curve resampling. And you can take it from here and use it over here, which means that it will use the spline parameter at this point instead of the spline parameter at this point. And that's kind of how you move around values in the node tree. In the previous version you had, you created variables or attributes as it was called, much like a variable in programming or whatever. And you use that to, you know, reference it in other places in the node tree. But the workaround here is you capture or you transfer attributes to use elsewhere. So it's a float, the factor is a float, so we want to connect this here. And the point is fine, because it's the point here would represent the control points of the curve. So that's fine. I think that should work. So if you connect this, we get the gradient from, I think 0 is here, yeah. 0, and then goes from all the way around. all around the knot, and then here. Now the difference would be if we used length instead, because then it would go from 0 to whatever the max value of the length. I think it's like 40 or something, so yeah, we get this instead. A bit too much. So I think factor is the best. Though you could multiply it with some small value like 0.001 or 0.01. Get a more reasonable size. But I think it should be good with just the factor. But we'll see. Either way, we need to remap it, I think. Because this is too much, 1 is too much. I think I said 0.6 would be a good maximum. And also 0 is too little over here. Because I want it to be a minimum of like 0.15 or something. But now at least we have something that affects the curve at different stages of the curve, so it's a good start. How would I do this? Maybe I could use something like a float curve. What do I want to do first? I think I want to create like a gradient somewhere so that everything is at the minimum and then it goes up in a bump and then down. So let's do that. I think a float curve should be able to do something like this. Okay, so here's something. Now it goes from 0 to 0. And in the middle there's a gradient, that's good. And some sort of weird artifact here. I'm assuming that this is the 0 point. Yeah, it has to be. Okay. We'll take a look at that later. I think it might have to do with the fact that it's resetting here. Yeah, I'll look into that later. But it's a good start here at least, so let's do this. See it a bit more. So the next step would be to kind of, I guess you could use a noise texture. But then it's kind of randomized. And if I'm taking a look at this reference, it's like the gradient is moving along the curve. I mean, you can do that kind of like with a probably with like an add node. Yeah, something like this. I'm just gonna decrease this a bit. You use that to, you know, move it around like this, which is kind of what I want. Not exactly, but I think we will use this later, so I'll keep it like this for now. That's okay. The wobbly animation, I think, could be achieved with a float. I think it could be achieved with a float curve. Because if you use the math node here to just move the... Basically, I'm increasing or decreasing the factor so that the 0 point is moved around to where the effect should start and end. So the real question is if I can use this, kind of create some bumps like this. Something like this, right? And then I could use the math node again over here to move it. You can see it does give 2 bumps here. So if you see here, start here. Starts here, goes down, and then starts again. So yeah, the 2 bumps are working. Alright dude, thanks for stopping by. So yeah, I think that's the way to go. Now I should be able to like multiply this, I think. Increase or decrease it. But it's still too much. I want to push in the gradient somehow. Maybe if I do it before. Would that work? Oh, here's something. Oh, here's 2 bumps. Oh, okay, cool. It worked. I'm surprised. Okay, that's cool. So if I add the math node now, this should be moving around in 2. So 1, 2. It's kind of working. So maybe I should drag this down a bit. Maybe like this. So it should start at negative 0.5, I think, or maybe less, -1. Starts there, goes down, goes up. Yeah, that's cool. So I'm just gonna do a little trick to make it easier to see. So I'm gonna animate it with a scene time. Plug it in here. Then I guess I need to... Oh wait, I can't do that. Because it goes from -1 to 1. So I need to... Guess I could use a mod node. It's 2. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking aloud here. So I would need a scene time node with the seconds, and I would need a math node modulo here, and the mod would be 2 because -1 to 1 is 2. Then I would need to remap it to from 0 to 2 to -1 and 1. I think this should work, I'm not sure. Kinda does. That's good enough, though this is way too fast. So math multiply by 0.2, something like this. Yeah, not bad. We're getting somewhere. I like it. I'm kind of curious what this is all about, though. This one here. It's when this... Oh, I need to increase the frame range. 9? No, 5000. So when it gets to the opposite side, or halfway, whenever one of these peaks goes halfway, this one is affected for some reason. Or this one. There it goes, and then the next comes here. It's affected again. Interesting, I wonder why. Very weird. Either way, I need to make it so that this here doesn't just stop, it needs to keep going. And I think I'm gonna resample this to something lower, just for now. There's a pretty big gap too, for some reason. Just want to see what happens if I use length. Maybe I can use some sort of modulo operation to make it just loop around. So it's from this? Might be. Okay, so here. It's not here. Not here. Not there. That's so odd. Because it's the last one. But clamp it behaves differently. Oh, that just... it's nothing. Look at that later. Now we need to loop it. So I'm thinking like a modulo. See, where does it end? It ends here. Okay, we're onto something. I don't like that one though. We'll fix that. Okay, so that fixed something. It's not perfect though. What would be the perfect value? Here. Maybe... maybe not there. Well, yeah, I'm kind of having some weird, not exactly sure where they're coming from. This is an issue and the looping is an issue. put there? I guess. Interesting. What happens if I do this? This one isn't affected for some reason. It sorts on this, and this is the last one, I think. So it suggests that it needs like one, maybe? It's not. Maybe I need to do some sort of map range on this one. Put some shear to 1. Very sus. Could I use a sign? Maybe that's a better solution. Sure what I'm missing here. So it's going from that's the value there. But here is going from negative, as it should. 1 as it should. I mean the float curve, this one. Give me your thoughts. What do you think? Yeah, I think it would be available for later. I'm not sure if I think it saves automatically, right? I hope it does. Yeah, this is more kind of me trying to figure out stuff, so I'm not sure how good it is to follow along. Probably not at all, but these are the kind of issues you run into. So that is here goes from seconds, not 2, 0 to 2, and I want it to -1. Range, then you have seconds, like that. Should be okay. It's kind of fun to problem solve, but it's not always you get the result that you want. Curious what happens if I use length instead. I guess we need to redo the node system then. Don't need that one. Group this here. Gonna name it. I mean, I usually learn a lot when I do these, but that's just me. That's because I'm doing it. So if I that's not what I want. I think it's just a matter of modding this. With some value. Not sure why it's... Oh, that's awesome, yeah. I'm not exactly sure why it's resetting completely though. So it goes this and resets. Interesting. Maybe modular clamp. Where does this go? It goes to 2. So the proper value should be... The proper value should probably be like... It goes to negative. Set it to negative here. Why did I want it to be negative? So I wanted the seconds here. Math with field starting with C. Aha, the cosine. Good catch. It's doing some weird behavior still, but bunch of weird behavior. I don't really get it. And this one is still opposite for some reason. And it still resets. Oh, okay. Let's see. It should range from 2 to 1. Let's check it. Yep. Goes from 1 to... Goes from 1 to... Oh, Caleb, what's up? Thanks for the donation, dude. Thank you very much. Thanks for hanging. Can't remember it anymore? No. That's that's unlucky. Oh, sorry. That's just the whole one. Of course. So this goes from kind of... Just gonna decrease these a bit more. I'm gonna remove the subdiv too. Increase this again. Is this... Oh, what's this? I was thinking maybe I can use the length instead. That's the same issue though. That doesn't work. Interesting. Well, the cosine is definitely doing something. If I increase this to, okay, if I unclamp that one. Yeah, it might be something to do with, but then again, the factor here is 1. 0 to 1. So it goes to start at -1, negative pi. Where does it start? Start at negative. It starts at such a random point. 0.5, okay. And at, it keeps looping for a while. And once it reaches above 0.5, it stops. So I guess I should remap from 0 to 1 to negative 2.5 to 0.5. Still restarts. Interesting. I'm gonna remove these for now. Just have one bump, it's much easier to work with. And I want to make this smaller. Okay, so there's a pretty big gap here. that might be a way. Pretty big gap here. That's pretty much half pi, right? So that's the magic number, I guess. So if we use that as the input, I guess not. Why do I use Blender instead of Maya or 3ds Max? Well, because it's what I started using. It's free, and there are a lot of really good resources for free, especially on YouTube. If you want to get into it, I tried Maya. I was using Blender for like a year, then I tried Maya, and you know, it's a good program. I'm not going to talk shit about it because it's an amazing program, but for me, I wanted to try like ArchViz. So I was like, okay, let's check an ArchViz tutorial or something. And I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna talk crap, but the level of quality of Maya tutorials compared to Blender tutorials are like, it's not really comparable, and the amount of tutorials and free resources for learning for Blender is just insane. Like, the entire educator community for Blender is huge, and the things that are available for free for Maya and 3ds Max are not as numerous as it is for Blender, so it's much easier to find solutions and help if you have problems. I feel like if you're gonna start to use Maya or 3ds Max or something like that, you really need a background in it, like some sort of either money or a lot of time to find the resources you need, or just get a proper education for it. And that problem isn't really here. It's not that they're boring, it's just that it doesn't have the same standard, because the people who use those softwares, they're usually in the industry, so there's no reason for anyone to actually make free content, free learning content for anyone. That's the difference with Blender, because it's free, so everyone can learn it and everyone can just download it. It's super lightweight, and unless you're doing some super heavy simulation and stuff, you can run it on a laptop, which I don't think you can do that with Maya. And it's expensive as hell. That's my biggest issue with it. Because I downloaded the 30-day trial version, which is the complete package, and it was like a bunch of gigabytes. And you could use it for 30 days, and then you had to pay like $3,000 per year. And, you know, if you want to get into the industry, I guess that's the way you have to do it, but I'm not aiming to work in the industry anyway, so Blender's fine by me. And you could use like Houdini. If you want to do simulations and effects and stuff, you could use Houdini and then export it to Blender and use that to render, of course. It's not like I think the other softwares are bad, it's just Blender fits my needs. But again, the biggest upside of Blender is the huge community surrounding it, and the active development, and the fact that it's free, you know. And you know, it's getting there, it's getting better. So that's nice. I'm gonna remove this for now. So the problem is that it's... Oh, look at that. It works. It was that easy. Amazing. Well, that's perfect. Nice. Job done. How can you earn money from Blender? Well, if you know what you're doing, you could start freelancing pretty easily. If you build up a portfolio that is good, and you start hanging around in... Discord has some servers there where you can get paid jobs. Or Facebook groups for freelancers is a good place. And the most important thing, I think, is to have one, a good portfolio, and two, to be kind of professional when if you want to contact someone. But looking around in social media, there are specific groups. I'm in a few of them, and that's where I've gotten a fair amount of work from those places. Just by, you know, someone puts out an open invitation to anyone in the group, says, I need this, can someone do it? And you're like, yes, let me show you my portfolio. Sometimes if you have a good portfolio on like ArtStation, or if you have an Instagram that's not popular, but if you know you have something that's nice and that's getting attention, you might get some offers there. Though I feel like the Instagram offers are usually pretty bad. Because they're usually like, oh, I can pay you in exposure, man. How about I give you a shout out after you worked 40 hours creating this? Oh, no. That's not how it works. So if anyone comes to you and say, just do this for me and I will pay you with exposure, just tell them to go somewhere. You don't need the money or the exposure. Zoom. But there are a lot of ways to make money with Blender. Since it's free, so the only thing you're really spending is time. External renders software like OpenGL. I haven't looked into it, to be honest. It's not something that I looked at. I think you could use Octane with Blender, or... I shouldn't really speak about it because I don't know. Okay, this works. This was all we needed. Like I said, I'm not really into render engines. If I'm being honest, it's not really my thing. Cycles is more than enough for me. Okay, so at this point I should be able to, like, I could maybe increase this or something like that. I should be able to do my double thing. Yeah. It works. So if I drag this down a bit. Oh, that's why I didn't like this version before, because it's just cranking this up to max right away. So there's a magic number somewhere that allows us to have a smooth... Let's see. Yeah, because look here. There's some sort of... Oh, okay. It's because at this point, this one is probably... But that's okay. I think. Let's put this to pi. There we have it. this is the problem I was thinking about. I don't like this. I have no idea how to remove it. Because it's coming before the... It's going ahead of the loop. Unfortunately, it's in the hand of Autodesk. The terror that stalks the night. Okay, so 0.5 seems to be the magic number here. So this to 5. That looks pretty good. Maybe I can create some nice gradient here. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. So if we add the subdivision here again, the shade smooth, and my computer almost dies. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And I think if we increase this to 100 again, we should get a better gradient. Yeah, it's looking nice. We did it. Now I just need to make sure that this doesn't go down all the way. It should be have some, like maybe 0.05 more, 0.25. Yeah, nice. That's pretty much the entire thing, except for one last thing, of course, which would be the... we don't want these at the bottom to extrude. And I think we could use some sort of proximity thing if we had a plane here. So if the faces are close enough to this, they should not extrude, right? Maybe we could save that for later, because I just realized that there's one more thing that we haven't checked yet, and that's the coloration, right? So it's one color except for the one of the rows. Okay, so let's create a material first. So we have that. Flabby Google is a good name for a material. And then we use the set material. We select Flabby Google. Right. So this is the animation. We can leave that as it is. This resampling is as it is. This is fine. This is fine. I'm just gonna move around some stuff here out of the way. This is looking good now too, so we can move that here. So what we need is to isolate one row of this. And I'm thinking we can use a capture attribute after the curve to mesh to kind of get the index of each face, because I think the way it works is that it goes like, how should I explain this? It goes like ring by ring, so it's always like 0, 1, 2, 3, and then next ring 4, 5, 6, 7, and then next ring. So there should be like a if you use like a modulo with the number that we want, we should get just one row. So we see, I'm gonna try that. I think it should be here. We'll set this to face, so it's only using the faces. Then we want it to be an integer because we're using the index. Then the input would be an index as well. And then we're gonna use this as a custom attribute, or a custom output over here. Because we're gonna use this value in the shader. So once you do that, you have the connector here. So we're taking the face indices of the mesh to remove this. So each of these faces, the first ones, right? Before we extrude anything, before this. So we're capturing the face indices before the extrusions over here. So we're gonna use those indices in the shader. So we connect it to the output, and then in the modifiers tab here with the jump nose modifier, we just name it. I'm just gonna name it row, like this. So now in the shader, we can use an attribute node and reference the row output that we made in the modifier. So if we check this here, we should see that here's something, yes. We can see it's doing something. So this is, I think this just goes from 0 to 1. So this would be the 0th index, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So at least we have something. This was kind of what I'm expecting. This only shows from 0 to 1, so 0, then everything else is 1 and above, so that's white. 0 is black. So if we now have this here connected, so we can see what we're doing. That's the first index 0. We should be able to just use a modulo node. Like so. Set it to 2. Now we're getting 2 of the rows though. Set it to 4. Oh, that works. We set it to 4, we get just 1 row. That's nice. Then we should be able to just use like an add node like this to change which row we want. We want the outer one like this. Yeah. Something like that. Cool. XXXXXX. Good name. I'm fine, thanks. How are you? So we're getting something. This isn't looking too nice though. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think it just has to do with the extrusions. And if we subdivide it more, we get something like this. We'll see. We could probably limit it so it's not doing entire thing, just like the upper top or something. Yeah, let's start there. Let's see. So now in the shading, if we do this, we can see the rows here, yeah. I guess we could use it. No, it's just black and white, so we can't use it as a vector, unfortunately. We can use the factor though. So we can use the color ramp for that. Create a gradient, I think. Maybe not. It's just okay. Watching people on YouTube doing the same. It's kind of chill. So this is kind of unexpected. I wasn't expecting this. Maybe if I just use the first one. Same issue there, maybe? Looks pretty good. No, same issue. Okay, so for some reason this one isn't included. Interesting. Because I was kind of assuming that this would go all the way down. I guess not. I don't want to use the subdivision surface too much. Nuke my nuke my GPU. Okay. Oh wow, that's interesting. Peace. What else could I do instead? If I have these. What if I change this over here? So instead of doing it that one, I use it with after the first extrusion. See what happens then. Okay, then we just get the top. They're also kind of weird. So we don't want it after the extrusion, we want it before. Say that much. So this goes here, this goes here. Now the question is, how do I make a gradient from this? Because now I'm selecting the faces here. Oh, not instant face. Good on one side. Then it's kind of freaking out on the other side. With this here. Not sure why. Still the same there. And also I just realized I'm not actually... I'm just selecting them. I'm not actually doing any sort of like calculations on how far away they are and stuff. So maybe I can use this value somehow as well. Because this is the value that determines. But I guess, no, I guess I don't want that. Let's see, how does the first one look? Yeah, it's independent of the extrusion length. Just that it's one row, okay. How else could we do this? So if we're skipping this entire thing, let's put it here. It's not actually using this here. I just realized. Which means that it must be using the first extrusion here. Yeah. It's not using the... it's not actually doing this until it gets to this point. So that's why it's not following through all the way down. Here. I wonder why. Oh, I saw something. Interesting. So the faces are... Let's check the indexes. I was kind of assuming that they were next to each other in a ring. Maybe they aren't. Because these faces here already, at this point, should be faces that we are using to color in. What happens if we add rigid body after geometry nodes? It should work. I don't see why it shouldn't. I have done the reverse. I've added a cloth modifier before geometry nodes before. I'm not exactly sure how it would work. Actually. This is kind of weird here. So 0, 1, 0.9, 0.8. Do I need to add one? One, 0.9. 1, then a 1.1. Everything is 0. Everything is 0.1. One, two, three, 0. Generate the texture coordinates? Well, no. The thing is, well, maybe it does work. Let's see. Well, something works. See if we separate these. Not combine. We have something. I guess you can't really... Because what we're trying to do really is just isolate one of these sides, I guess. And I was thinking, you know, if we take the face and the index of that face and use that as the mod value, we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So that should technically like work. But it doesn't, because I guess it's... I'm getting the right values here. Everything is like that. As you can see, the index of 0, 1, 2, 3, and then returns to 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's separating them into these. Though I guess I could just do this. A compare, maybe. With it's equal to this, maybe. I was using 2 sides though. It should be integer as well. It's equal to 0. Still 2 sides. Okay, let's see. We're getting somewhere at least. Let's see what happens. So if we connect this to this, and we use this over here, we're getting something. Let's connect the entire thing, see what happens. It's this one. Here's something. I mean, it's almost. It's almost, not really. So if I clamp this, what happens then? It goes from 0 to 1, okay. I think this was the thing I did before, where I had a 0 and 1, and everything that's 0 should be this, but I'm still getting this annoying thing here. With the float, it should be equal to 0. That didn't work. That's a shame. Because this is also just outputting 0 or 1. Well, true or false, but that's the same as 0 and 1. Which is why this is looking like this. And I can't transfer it over here because it's not a mesh yet. And for some reason, the first extrusion isn't actually connected, which is weird. So maybe I need to... Then I get this kind of weird thing in here that I don't want. So that's a no-go. Maybe not. No, it's getting too... No, I don't like that. I don't like that here. That's a big no. So what else can we do instead? I guess the transfer would be an option instead of the capture. You can do a lot of the same things. Takes the geometry, takes an attribute, want the nearest face, want that as this. It's giving us something. I'm not sure what this is outputting though. Bunch of weird numbers here. 0, 4, 9. Index maybe? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And what is this outputting? 0, 1, 2, 3, just like before. So how do we go about that then? With faces, of course. One, nope. 2. I was hoping this would work. I'm getting some weird things here. It's not really transferring up to the rest for some reason. Very, very curious. So I might have to get back to this at some other point with shading. I was kind of hoping that the capture thing would work. Because it should work. Using the index right, this, and we get each of the indices here, for each face. So I'm just gonna check something real quick. If I take this here, with the material, and I use this as the output, the row, like so, then it should be math, and I guess less than 5. So we have 0 to, oh, I guess less than 4. So here's a weird thing. This is kind of treated like almost triangles. Is it because I'm using a curved circle instead of a quadrilateral? Is it because of this? Let's check it out. Maybe it is, who knows? Because this one is guaranteed to be a square or a rectangle. Oh, it's the same thing there, huh? It's a shame. I was hoping I was onto something. But okay, fair enough. So the issue is probably that the faces aren't behaving as I thought they would. Because if you look at the wireframe, they are rectangles, as they should. But when we're doing the material assignment over here. It's kind of crossing over for some reason. So I think the first... I think it should be this here, this face here. That's the number 1. Is it because the curve type is wrong? Maybe I need to turn it into a Bezier or something? Set spline type. Bezier. Set handle type. Auto. Nope. That's not it. What happens if I tilt the curve? It's behaving as it should. So that's not it. Skip that one too. So why are the faces kind of crossing over here? It should be here. Because they're clearly not triangles. When you look at the wireframe. If we look at after the first extrusion. Well, I mean, this is kind of... They're kind of crossing over here, which is really weird. Because this, it should only be this, these 4 extrusions. This triangle here and this face on this side, and on this side and that triangle shouldn't be included, but they are, and it's probably because here they're connected, even though they shouldn't be. If I set it to point though, it kind of works. Because now it's using the vertices. So it's using these 4 here. So that's not exactly what we want. So here we're onto something at least. So now we have, or maybe this is a solution, because now we have the vertices that are on this, on these, or this edge here, I guess. That's because you're using points. So these are the faces that we need. Okay, this seems to be working. Should probably set the epsilon to 0. Then we can use this to determine which, I think, which face to use. Maybe not. So 0. Then we add, oops. Then we add the value here, add 1. Or I guess I could just tilt it though. Okay, we're doing a custom one because this is kind of working, I think. To see how it looks if we connect the extrusions. No, of course. It's still going out there, so weird. Alright, not gonna waste too much time on this. Maybe I'll figure out later. What I should be able to do is use some sort of distance function though. So if I use this as the, like this, not sure what I'm missing here. Kind of weird. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, I don't know. Well, I'll get back to that later. I'm just gonna take a quick 5 minutes or so, get some coffee, so I'll be right back. And we're back. So let's see, one thing we can do is at least probably at least the this thing here, where it doesn't extrude downwards if it's too close to the floor. That should be doable, I think. We'll see, because you have this selection here which can, you know, you can limit what part should be extruded and what part should not, so so we can use the plane here as an object. Someone subbed? Oh, thanks for the sub. Right when I was away. Typical. But yeah, we should be able to use like a proximity thing. This is a target, the plane. And we should be able to get the distance. So if... Let's see. So we can use a compare, I guess. So if... Well, now I think about it, we don't really want to create a selection. What we want to do is take this and multiply it by some value depending on the distance. Depending on the distance from wherever. So if it's here, it should be working as intended, and if it's close to this, it should be smoothly dragged down to something closer to 0 or to the minimum value. So if we take this and multiply it with the distance, then everything far away should be bigger, and things that are closer should be smaller. And it is. So this should make sure that it doesn't really go extrude down here too much. Of course, we want to drag that down a bit so it's not too much. Something like this, I think. Yeah. Cool. I'm actually surprised that worked so fast. It worked exactly as I hoped it would. So now it's not extruding down below. So if I put this here, it should be like 0 almost. Yeah, you can see it's changing depending on how far away it is. That's cool. So something like this, I guess, should be good. Because then it maintains the stuff over here. Maybe I should drag it down a bit. So these are doing what they should, and the stuff that's on the ground is not. Though I should probably add something extra here. Because it shouldn't be 0. So something like this. The plane is here. Oh yeah, because, yeah, right. Shouldn't be going through. That's fine. But now we kind of have the thing. The only thing we're missing is the single row coloration. But that's fine. Maybe we can do something else. some other color trick. Instead of using like a single row, maybe we could do... Let's see what we can do. Because apparently we can use some sort of mapping on this. We don't have any UVs, though we could create our custom UV, I guess. I want to try that real quick. Then we will be using an attribute again. And I'm gonna call it just UV, I think. So what we do is we take the spline factor over here, or I guess over here works too, that's a factor. That would be another capture attribute and a factor. So we take this, which should be a float and it should be point. And then we take a combine XYZ, like so. So this would be the X or Y, it doesn't really matter, I think. So the length or the factor of the curve will be 1 part of the custom UV. And then the spline factor of this curve will be the next one. So this will be another capture attribute, like so. And another spline parameter, like so. This is a trick I learned from Bradley Animations, a really good YouTube channel for geometry nodes. They know a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, so if we take the X value of the vector should be from the original spline, and the Y will be from the profile curve that we're using to create the mesh. Oh, thanks for the sub. Really appreciate it. So this would be the custom UV. So I'm gonna connect it here and call it UV. So now we get a sort of a, it's not exactly, but we're getting some sort of custom UV map. I guess we could change it around too if we want. Like this. But yeah, pretty cool. So with this, we should be able to do some just regular shading, I guess. Because now we can like separate XYZ from this. So now we're getting a cool gradient here, which is pretty cool. And this is kind of what I was after before, now that I think about it. Almost. It's missing, it's taking this edge instead of the faces, that's annoying. I wonder if I can modify it with a math node or something. Because the X is going around. Or is it the Y that's going around? Oh no, it's the X value that should be modified. Well, it's kind of looking... I wish I could, like, move this just over a bit. I probably can. I'm not that good with the math and shaders in general. I know one thing I could do, probably, which is to tilt the curve. That's something I know how to do. That's something. Maybe that's enough. I guess one would be 360 divided by 2. Not really, 150, 145 I guess. Something like this. It's not exactly right, but you know, it's close enough. I'm gonna say that's close enough. I also wanna resample the curve to some more, maybe 120, 125, maybe even more, 150. Make it really, really. Yeah, that's cool. And I also want to make the lowest position a bit lower. I guess that would be with this one. So this one we can skip. Just use this one. Then we can multiply it with this, like so. So this will determine how far away it goes at maximum. And this is like an extra bit of extrusion added to it at the end. I'm digging it. I guess maybe we could use this one before instead, like we did before. So it should be around here. Something like this. Yeah! That's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. I'm a bit sad about this, but whatever. It's fine. I guess, wait a minute, now think about it. It's the X one, right? So I should be able to just... No, not on that one. Should be able to math it. Right? Maybe not. Wait a minute. Maybe I can vector rotate this. Is that possible? Around the X, I think, not the C. Oh, hey, Han. What's up? I thought maybe you'd like to make the floor proximity effect be dependent on the face direction, so the tentacle close to the floor pointing up still extend. Yeah, that's a thought. Let's see, the original, what does the original do? Yeah, the original is doing what you said. So once they're pointing upwards, they're still going off. Yeah, that's a thought. I might look into it, actually. I just wish I could move that around. Move this gradient up to this. If anyone knows, let me know. Or have any suggestions how to do that, let me know. Because it is using this here. And I'm pretty sure that this won't work. Whoops. Pretty sure that this won't work. Because why would it? No, that's just like using the curve tilt, so it doesn't matter. Satch. Oh well, that's better than before at least. So now we can at least do some shading with a color ramp. Okay. What happens if I do this, by the way? Just moving it along the spline and here. Interesting. Nothing with X. Can extend it. Interesting. Shouldn't it be possible to just take the coordinate and kind of rotate it around? Because that's all I have to do, right? Right now it's using the edge. It's using the edge as the as the 0 point, I guess. That means I can just add it to this. Oop. I can kind of extend it to the other side, which is good. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. What happens if I extend it even more? How far does it go? To there, okay. So, if I have it like this, I guess I should be able to move this around, yeah, and this too. That means I should be able to multiply it or something. Something else. Oh yeah, I could probably add to it. Now that I think about it. You know what? I'm gonna say that this is good enough for now. It's kind of looking the way I wanted to. Not exactly, but you know, close enough. So I'm going to call that a small victory. And do some shading. So it should be some sort of like this, creamy white. And the other one should be something like this, I guess. Yeah, cool. Okay, that's fine. So you were saying to make it so that these tentacles or extrusions. Well, initial plan was, well, I'm kind of getting there. Doing something that looks kind of like this. Not make it exactly, but something similar. Because that one is made in Cinema 4D. So I wanted to create it in Blender. But I'm thinking I'm kind of liking where it is right now. With texture, yeah, it would be to recreate something like the one here. So we have one row and nothing else. I tried using the capturing the face indices, and it kind of worked, but the faces were all messed up for some reason. They were kind of interpreted as triangles between some of the control points, which made one side look good and the other side look kind of, you know, not good. So this is the compromise for now. This is the compromise that I'm doing. Because I think it's close enough. Like I said at the beginning, it's not supposed to be an exact recreation. I just kind of want to see what I can do. So yeah. Hey, welcome. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Should be more red, a bit darker. And I'm pretty sure there's some subsurface stuff going on there too. I'm not gonna subject my computer to that. Not while I'm streaming, at least. But yeah. So I'm just gonna keep this at 1 for now. And the plane is over here. The extrusion thing? Which part of the extrusion thing? The proximity thing? Or something else? Well, let me know. What's the fix? I realize you can use the dot product, right? So if it's more than some value of the dot product, you can have it still affect fully, right? Or something like that. Try the position, right? So I'm guessing you're thinking taking the normals and using the dot product of the position of the faces normals for the... Aha! Okay. Yeah, let's check it out. That would be... dot product. Where you at? There you are. Let's take the normals from this one. right? You take the faces, you take this, then it will be -1, right, on C. Then you use that to multiply, right? Nope. So we need to multiply it here somewhere, right? Okay, map range from -1 to 1, 0 to 1. Then I need to reverse it, right? And that's not the place to do it either. I think might be true. So where do you reckon we put it? Because now it's affecting the entire thing. Oh, sure. Give me the cheat sheet. Because I'm assuming you mean in combination with the proximity, right? So I'm guessing it should be here. It would be pretty funny if you come in clutch again, like you did with the binary counter thing. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, the same that you sent, but I need to use it in combination with the proximity stuff. So right now this is working here. It's working as intended except for this part, so the only part that should be affected with this is if the distance is less than something. If the distance is less than some value, then this should be applied. But I guess the reverse of it should be applied because now it's pointing down. So it would be up instead. But I guess I would need to compare. How would you do it? So I'm using the distance in this proximity to affect so that if the distance is less than something, then it doesn't extrude as much, which is why it's extruding here but not here. So I would need to make like a selection here that's multiplying with this. But only if the value is less, only if the distance is less than some value. And I don't think I have the mental capacity to figure it out right now, if I'm being honest. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna... I really appreciate the help though. I think I'm gonna set this scene up for some rendering. So yeah, just because it's fun, I'm just gonna do a... I'm gonna do a scene. Drag this up. Subdivision surface, 3 is good. Take the face here. Inset a bit, like so. Then let's add a camera. Reset. Yeah, I really want to try it out the way you think about it, your suggestions, but I don't think I can. I would need to sit like a full day or something to do that. So okay, let's find some cool angles here. Let's up this up to, I don't know, 120. Thinking if we have it over here or something, then we do this and then we rotate it up. Guess I'm gonna switch to cycles as well. Okay, cool. Let's add some lights. $500 is usually good. 8. Set it to disk. 3D cursor. Let's find some good lighting here. Maybe even bigger. Brighter. Okay, that's nice. Duplicate that. Duplicate again. Create some cool highlights. Something like this, I guess. Maybe I should render it out in Eevee. See how it looks. You get some pretty good results with Eevee sometimes. Well, I guess I would need to use some light probes. Something like that. And then let's... Okay, I'm just gonna set up a scene with some basic camera movements. So this will be cam 1. This is usually I do it. And in this collection I have a... I don't need an empty for this, so I'm just gonna take location rotation. Maybe I should bring it down a bit. Like so. Location rotation, and then let's see. If the entire thing should be 10 seconds. So the end place would be 600. So let's say 300. Move it in a bit. Location rotation. Let's play it. It's fine. We have a bit more. rotation. So that's camera movement number 1. Let's do cam number 2. And I can, maybe I could duplicate. No, let's get add a new camera. Alt G, Alt R. Set that as the active one. Let's find a cool angle. Let's see. And then I need an empty in the center. Parent that to that. Location rotation, and then we're gonna move this to like. Just realized. Let's move this to 150. The 120 would be 2 seconds. That's probably fine. 150. And then this one. Let's move this to 150 as well. And then on 300, let's rotate it a bit like this. So one thing that's pretty cool, I don't know how widely known this is, but you can use markers in the timeline. So let's add a marker here. This is called F01. This camera would be the active camera for that one. You have your marker, you have your camera. In the marker, find camera to markers. So that marker is connected to that specific camera. So if I then go to 150, add a new marker. This one is called F150. Activate this camera, that's the active one. Marker, find camera to markers. So that means it switched camera automatically. Look. So after 300 here, we want another, the last camera, cam 3. And in here we want a camera, set that as active with a fairly high focal length. Do you know what we get if we take a dot product of tangent and a normal? You get a dot product. And the dot product that you get is dependent on the tangent and the normal. I'm not the math guy, Mr. Hyen is, so ask them. You're the one who came in clutch after one of my videos. Let's find a good angle here. Maybe like this. Add a marker. The camera is active. Find camera to markers. So we get to this and then switch camera. So let's create some cool movements here as well. One thing I like to do is, since this one is going from right to left, and it's angled, it's kind of a Dutch angle to the right. So the next camera will be a Dutch angle to the left, like this. And then it will go from right to left instead. And I will do some cool looking depth of field stuff as well, because here we have 5 seconds until the end of 600. So this one will be. So in Node 3, yeah, we were trying out some stuff before. It didn't work as exactly as we intended, because we wanted to take. The way we were thinking was, when we get to this point where this point here should be extruded, we wanted to make it so that the ones down here aren't extruded, but the other ones are. And it is possible, I just don't have the mental capacity right now to figure it out. But you would have to do something with the dot product, and the dot product basically takes... Correct me if I'm wrong, but if the angle is less than some threshold, I don't know exactly what it is, you get a 1, and if it's less than a certain angle, you get -1. It's something like that, I think, or a negative and positive value. I'm not exactly sure how it works, because I'm not a math guy. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something like that, I think. So at 600, this here would be rotated quite a bit. Like this, maybe. Rotation. And I'm gonna decrease... I'm gonna be a smart guy here. Because one thing that's pretty cool with jump nodes, you can use a group input everywhere. This group input is handled exactly the same as this group input. You can only have one group output, but you can have more than one group input. So you have access to this out here. So I want to be able to access this and increase and decrease as I want. And I also want to be able to access this count here. The resample count to... I'm going to set it to 50 for now, just to speed it up. So we can see the animation better. Maybe I should add a fourth camera, like a top-down view or something. So let's move this to, I don't know, 500. Then we have a little more than a second that's just have an overview camera. That could be pretty cool, I think. Set this to 50 for now. Yeah, okay, that's good. So this empty goes to 500. Set a new marker. And a new collection. I like to keep it in separate collections, just easier to work with. Collection. Cam 4. Add a camera. So rotate it on X. No, wait, let's keep it on 0, by the way. So move it up. So let's say we have this angle here. And a bit of rotation, like this. Application rotation. Camera is active. Find camera to markers. Then go to 600. And drag it up. Maybe also drag it to this side and rotate it a bit more. So let's see the camera movements. A bit of a zoom in or a dolly in. Then some rotation to get some parallax. Yeah. I'm thinking this movement should probably be a bit faster. So which one is that? Camera 02 is camera 01, so it's this one. So it's going right to left. Oh, cross product, okay. That's a little bit faster now. And this one is good as it is. Is this going the wrong way, by the way? Oh yeah, this one is going right to left. This one as well. That's not good. We need to change that. Should be going this way. Yeah, that's better. That's better. I mean, it's really a basic camera move. I use it all the time. A bit of a dolly in, and then some rotational angles, and then a overview. I think it's the exact. Now that I think about it, I think it's the exact camera angles I used in one of the first things I uploaded. I think it's called String or something. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same thing. Let's see if I have it on my Instagram. Oh yeah. Here. It's almost the exact movements. A bit faster though. So zoom in, then some shaking out rotations, and then some rotations. Then zoom out. Yeah, it's one of those things that it just works. It's like instant value. So if you ever want to create some, if you're ever at a loss for how to create some interesting angles, just have one that's showing the entire subject in kind of an overview from one side that's moving in pretty slow, and then change it to a Dutch angle that's like going around it, and then to another Dutch angle that goes around the other way, and then zoom out. Well, if it works, why change it up? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, creating it's just small movements is enough to create some interesting stuff. And so the final thing to do is, of course, add some depth of field stuff. That's one of the most important things when you're doing close-up stuff like this. So in this one, it's camera 02, so it's this collection. I'm gonna add another empty. Cam focus 3. Speed it up. So I'm just gonna create some movement of this focus point. This is also a trick I use all the time. So in the camera, you go to depth of field, and you select the cam focus object, and you drag it down. This is supposed to be like a very, very zoomed in thing. So let's drag it down to like 0.75. So we have extreme focus here at this point to start with. So let's create a keyframe there. Then we're gonna go for like a second. Change rotation, and then pretty quick focus change, like a half a second. So that would be 10, 20, 30 frames. Go over to the back. Over here. So that the part that we were just focusing on is now unfocused. And we're now focusing on the background instead. Somewhere around here. Then a keyframe. So then we start here. And as these ones are coming around, we move the focus back. It's hard to see with the cycle stuff, but how does it look with the... You can kind of see with the EV too. I don't really like the depth of field stuff with EV, but you can see. So it starts focused here, unfocused here. Then it switches over because something's happening in the background. Then right before the camera changes again, it comes back around and we're in full focus. Then we see the complete overview. So yeah, it doesn't have to be much more complicated than that. I will probably add some depth of field stuff here too with this camera. Will the record be available? I think so. I haven't streamed on YouTube before, but I'm pretty sure that it auto saves your streams. At least I hope so. So if it does, then yeah, this will be available pretty much as soon as I'm done here. So another empty. This would be cam focus 2. This camera doesn't have as big of a focal length, which is why it's looking more distorted here and smaller there, but it's fine. Use the cam focus 2 and move this to, let's see, where's the camera? There. So let's see, let's start here, see how it looks. Bring it down to like 0.5. Now, since this focal length is so small, we could bump it up to like 160. And since we haven't keyframed the camera, since we only keyframe this, we can just move the camera at any point, and the movement will still be there. So something like this. So let's keyframe this here. Now let's move it out a bit more to here. Then let's do the same, like a second, so 210. Occasion rotation. And then about half a second of movement. Let's move it back here. Or maybe like start. Maybe let's do the reverse here. Yeah, let's do that. Start back here. Then 1 second ahead. Keyframe it. 10, 20, 30, half a second. Move it to focus on this part. Occasion rotation. Yeah, it looks nice. I focus here. It looks a lot better with cycles because the focus in cycles is much better represented. And this moves back here. Then the overview. Yeah, that's nice. Me gusta. Maybe add a maybe add a sun as well. So this would be like just to light up the back a bit. This would be like strength, not 4, but 3 maybe. Too much. 2. 1. 1 works, I guess. Increase the angle a bit. Softer shadows. Something like that. Nice. And that's a 10-second clip that you can just loop around. fairly easily. Just make sure that this isn't going the right. This is going from right to left. I think I want to change the rotation of this one to the opposite. Otherwise it goes from right to left and then from right to left again. That's no good. So like this would be the correct way. That's too much though. Still too much. That's better. Cool. Models from the source engine. I'm good, thanks though. What's the models? Okay, so let's see how it looks with the full 150. Looks nice. Then you add a second level of subdivision, and my computer is almost dying. But something like this, yeah, not bad. And almost exactly 3 hours. That's perfect. So yeah, that's kind of the process when you're figuring out. Now, usually I don't try to figure out something as specific as this. It's usually just to have an idea of something non-specific that's kind of an outline of something else. But this is just a very specific thing, and that's kind of why, you know, all of this took so much time. Because it's much faster. It's much faster when you're just messing around and stumble upon something, because then you don't really have anything specific in mind. So when you're doing like, I'm going to do this exact thing or something like it, I feel like you have to think a lot more. But like experimenting with color lights, I haven't really done much. I did with the, I did a render of the tentacles when I was messing around with that used a blue highlight, which was pretty cool. But as a thumb rule, I really usually stick to just the white lights. It just makes it it's easier to just work with color-wise. So when you're mixing in like red and blue and other stuff, you need to have a... It's a stylistic choice that you need to make beforehand when you're making materials and stuff. So I usually stick to just the basic, the white area light. Yeah. Maybe 200 is too much. 150 is good. And then render with 2. Yeah. Okay, I'm thinking I'm done. If you want the node tree, here it is. Let me see if I can make it smaller. So usually when you're doing, I mean, you can do awesome stuff with color lights for sure. See, this belongs here. This is the, we can put this up here. Like that, and this goes here. This is the proximity stuff. Like so. Fairly small node tree, I have to say. I thought it would be much bigger. This goes here. I guess this could go here. This could go here. This is just a group input for the level. Let's shrink it even more. Like so. This goes here and this goes there, yeah. It's a bit messy, but hope you understand. So, here's the node tree. Just gonna remove the attribute because I'm not even using it. Drink. So, there it is. So, I might do this some other time, again. This is the stuff I'm doing anyway, so I might as well stream it. I thought it was fun hanging around, hang out with you, answering questions and just talking. It was nice. So if you like this, I might do it more. Because it's not taking time from anything else anyway. So yeah. So until next time, I see you around. Peace.